and welcome. I am Jackie from the YouTube channel Ask Jackie, and this is another all English video for you to practice your listening comprehension. So I have been interviewed several times for various jobs, and I have also interviewed lots of different people for jobs here in Brazil and in the United States. And there are some pretty big cultural differences between the interview process here in Brazil and in the US that I want you to be aware of. And I'm also going to give you 7 tips so that you can nail your job interview. Remember, to nail something means arrasar em português. Então eu vou te dar 7 dicas como você pode arrasar na entrevista de emprego. In the US, the interviewer, the person that is conducting the interview, is not supposed to ask you any really personal questions. So it is actually prohibited to ask a candidate about their sexual preference, their religion, their political beliefs, their plans on maybe getting pregnant or having babies, their age. You can't even ask a person what their age is or their race. All of these questions are prohibited to prevent discrimination. So here in Brazil, I thought it was really strange when I would see all these resumes with a person's picture and their age and their marital status listed right at the top of the resume. You don't typically see this in the US. So now let's talk about 7 things that you should or should not do during an interview. And some of this may seem like common sense, but you'd be surprised. It's always good to remember these things so that we give our best impression. Number 1, be prepared. Show up a little bit early. I recommend about 5 minutes early. Get to the place where you're supposed to be, have a glass of water, relax, and come with copies of your resume or copies of any other professional work that you want to show them in your hand, and not like wrinkled, coffee-stained copies. Put everything in a nice, beautiful folder so that it's protected and it has a really good presentation. Being prepared also means dressing appropriately for the position. So this varies a lot. Some positions you can dress a little bit more casually, others you need to dress more professionally. But I always think it's better to overdress than to underdress. You want to look maybe too professional rather than too informal and give the impression that you don't really care, you dressed really sloppily. So it's always important to look your best, make sure your clothes are clean, you've got your hair done, your makeup done, and that you are ready to impress. Number 2, when you first meet the people that are going to interview you, just give them a firm handshake, make eye contact, smile, no hugs and no kisses, okay? This is a professional environment. It may seem cold, especially to those of you coming from Brazil, but in a professional environment, handshake, smile, that's it. Number 3, during the interview, don't expect your resume to do the talking. I have helped several students prepare for interviews, and this is a very common mistake. They believe that just because it's written on their resume, they don't need to sell themselves. They don't need to talk about themselves. But a lot of times, people don't read your resume very carefully before calling you in for an interview. So your job during the interview is to really paint a picture of who you are in a work setting. And the best way to do this is by telling stories, giving examples of how you dealt with certain situations or how you would deal with a certain situation. Make sure to really paint a very clear picture of yourself and don't rely on your resume. Number 4, you should always practice before your resume, but make sure you practice. And this is important to do even in Portuguese, okay? Many times we come to the interview and we think, oh, they'll ask questions about me. I know how to answer. But oftentimes we leave the interview thinking, why did I say that? Or why didn't I tell them about this specific example? Or they ask you a question and you spend 5 minutes just thinking of the answer that you want to give them. So by practicing, you will feel so much more confident and you will come to the interview prepared, ready for their questions. When they ask you questions, you will know exactly what adjectives you want to use, what stories you want to tell, what examples you want to give, and they will be very impressed with you. Number 5. Don't lie about your English level, okay? I have seen many resumes with people telling me that they have fluent English, advanced English, and then when it comes time to practice for the interview, they don't have that high of a level of English. There's nothing wrong with being a beginner in English. We all start out as beginners. But it is wrong to lie about it on your resume, especially if they're going to test your English during the interview process. What ends up happening is they look at your resume, advanced English, they discover that you do not have advanced English, and then they begin to think that you lied about everything else on your resume. So it's always good to be honest about your abilities, about your level of English. And also really emphasize the fact that if you are weak in English, make sure to tell them that, this is a weakness that I have. However, I really want to improve. That's why I'm taking classes. I am studying an hour a day to improve my English. Tell them exactly what you are doing to show them that it is important and that you are taking action to improve your English level. So number 6, we just mentioned that you want to be honest about your English level and about your qualifications. However, there are some times where you may not want to be too honest.
Thank you for your time.
Actually, sir, I really need this job to impress a girl.
Will you leave now, please?
For example, a few years ago, I was helping a student prepare for an interview, and I asked him, so, what do your coworkers think of you? Do you get along with your coworkers? And he said, oh, they hate me. They think I'm really annoying. And I almost fell out of my chair, and I said, whoa. You don't want to say that. I said, well, is there one coworker that likes you, or is there one person that thinks you're okay? And he said, yeah, actually the secretary, she thinks I'm funny and she compliments me on being so organized. I said, all right, so if you get this question, you could focus on that one person that says you're organized, or that one person that you get along with, and maybe avoid that other negative information. It's too much information and it doesn't portray you in a very positive way. And related to this, in English, a lot of people say I was fired when they want to say fui demitido, okay? But to be fired in English means demitido por justa causa, okay? So when someone tells me I was fired,
you're fired, you're fired,
I instantly am like, ooh, what did you do? What happened? It sounds really negative. So if you were demitido, mas você não fez nada errado, you could say I was let go, or I was laid off, okay? I was let go, or I was laid off. And number 7, you guys, this is so simple, but really makes a great last impression if you want to stand out against the other candidates. Send an email thanking the person or people that interviewed you. Thank them for their time and the opportunity to meet with them. Tell them, I really appreciate the time you spent with me. I loved talking with you guys, and I look forward to hearing from you. This little gesture is so rare nowadays, and it really makes a big impact, I believe, and it really makes you stand out. It makes it look like you really care, like you really want the job. And that's what we want nowadays, okay? Also, related to the first one about being prepared, make sure you go and you know something about the company, okay? Don't show up not knowing anything about the company or anything about the position, all right? Show that you really are the best person for this job and that this company needs you, and be very specific. Show them that you've done your research and that you're interviewing with them because you want them, that it's not just one of 100 companies that you are interviewing with, okay? Also, if you want to be part of my online course, we are opening again very soon. So be sure to click on the link below and get all the information about studying online with me. I would love to have you as a student. You guys can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram if you want some daily tips. Remember to give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and I'd love to hear about any other funny interview experiences that you have had here in Brazil or in the US. Please share. All of this is very helpful for everyone else. All right, thank you guys for watching, and remember, if you have any questions, ask Jackie. Bye-bye.